My name is Ngodwana and I am from the Girl Boss platform. Welcome back to our channel as we have decided to resume with our series where we share critical and important historical information on the origins of Africans and the origins of humanity. And we think it's a very important time to do this, especially with all that's going on in the world, the wars, the economic instability, as well as a rise in health instability, where there's an increased number of people who are encountering mental health challenges. So we feel that when you ground yourself in who you are, greater purpose, spiritual understanding, historical understanding, it is easier for you as a person, as a being, to find hope and to find the resilience to build the beautiful life that you deserve and to boss up, you know. So today it's the 29th of March and it's a perfect day for us to start with the first episode, which is going to focus on Ngodwana Land. It's actually Ngodwanaland Land Day today. It's a day that is been known by ancients to celebrate the time of origin, specifically the origin of Mother Earth and the origin of humanity as we came to incarnate on the earth and to start the journey of being human. A lot of us don't think often too much about, the earth, the planets, why the planets were formed. The planets have a purpose. Many of us believe that Earth is the only planet where there are beings that are inhabiting the planet. There is nothing in this universe, whether we know it or we don't know it, that was created without a purpose. Everything comes from a central, unified source, God, creator, whatever you're comfortable referring to it as. And so does Mother Gaia. Mother Gaia is the spiritual name of the planet that we call Earth at this time. And I say that because obviously language has evolved, and at different times, different civilizations, cultures, society referred to Mother Earth in different ways. But generally, she's known as Gaia, that being her spiritual name. And that speaks to her spiritual journey, why God created the planet that is Earth. So we go back to understanding that everything, every organism, whether it's a blade of grass, a grain of soil, a crystal, a bird, a human being, each and every one of us is created with a purpose, as much as every cell in our body is created for a purpose, for a function, to help us function well and to move and live as a unified being. So are all of us, the different kingdoms on this planet, we're all created to form a unified kingdom and live in unity. At the beginning of time, Ngodwana is the evolutionary phase that some scientists refer to as Pangea, and they mistakenly think or refer to Ngodwana as a subcontinent. And the other mistake that they make is to mesh up all the continents as they are now to make them come together to form a puzzle and form one unified landmass. Whereas the original unified singular landmass, which is what Ngodwanaland was at the time, was actually a solid landmass that went around Earth. Therefore, when you looked at Earth from outside of outer space, she looked like an eye, like a nebula, like a seed, because indeed at the time she was seeding, she was birthing, she was erupting as a nebula does when it's creating a new galaxy. She was birthing these new kingdoms that came to be known as humans, as animal sentient ones, as the plant kingdom, the crystal kingdom, all the elements: air, earth, fire, water, and that she looked like a nebula. The landmass was a solid landmass that went around with the blue oceans on the other side of her. And when humans came to be in their evolutionary phase of coming to be and being seated on the planet, that is what they found: a unified ecosystems that were unified, where all the kingdoms honored each other, they cohabited, they co-created, they all worked in unity. And the reason why the planet was created and humanity was created is to give us as beings the opportunity to learn love, because God is love. She is an asexual being, but God, goddess, is love. That is the origin of love, and love is all there is. And we come here as humans to learn the different experiences and the different extents of love, unconditional love. And I must say, in my opinion, we're not doing too well. If you look at the state of the world and you look at the state of Gaia, how did Gaia or Ngodwanaland come to break up into the 7 continents that we know now? The story goes that humans were seeded, and at the time humans came into Earth, they also had a connection to God. They were love. They understood love. They lived in divine ways, honoring and following divine laws. One of those main laws was, do what you will, but harm none. Do what you will and harm none. And over time, humanity started to disconnect from God. They started to seek a God who was closer to their existence on earth. They started seeing other human beings as God. They started creating idols of God, and started really disconnecting from the divine God that they had known. And that started creating insecurities in humans. Humans started to feel the results of separation, which are insecurity, fear, anxiety, competition, a feeling that you're not good enough, a feeling that there isn't enough. All of these dominant negative feelings that we see in the world right now started dominating human consciousness. Now, human consciousness is energy, and what that does is that every thought, every feeling that we feel, each individual feels, goes and impacts the environment. It impacts Mother Gaia. She takes it into her carbon memory, and she then processes that. So essentially, Gaia is a representation of how humans are, how we see ourselves, how we are experiencing life. And over time, because we were experiencing this separation, this unease, this dis-ease, this lack of unity, this lack of harmony, she then also started to break up and to separate and to mimic how we are, especially to one another. At the beginning of Gorduana, when humans were still starting out, there was love, there was unity, there was peace. It was apparently said that it was millions of years before a human had the audacity to kill another human, to take a human life. It was a big deal. Can you imagine that today another human kills and takes the life of another human easily? Every second that you and I are breathing in existence, someone is snuffing out the divine gift of life out of another being. And so over time, Mother Gaia processed what we were feeling, how we were acting, as we started to seek dominion over others, dominion over her. We started marking out territory. We started feeling like we own her, and she owes us. Instead of seeing her as a gracious host that she is, hosting us on her body started to fall apart. Imagine your own body, where different parts of your body, your different organs start deciding to act on their own. and they start to separate, how would your body react to that? Parts of you would start to become disabled and dysfunctional. And that's what has happened to Mother Gaia, and that's what has happened to humanity. We've become dysfunctional. We don't function according to the blueprint of the universe, which is love. Over time, she did try to help us correct course. She, when you speak of the evolutionary periods, some speak of a period called Lemuria. Lemuria is the time that ended with the big fire cleansing. Some related to the fire cleansing that ended the dinosaur age. Humans were there at the time, and they were very much responsible for the overconsumption and the misuse of power, and firepower specifically at the time. And the age that we most recently come from is the one that we relate to the most, I think, biblically. Those who believe in the Bible, Noah's time, I think in Greek and Egypt, we referred to it as the Age of Toth, the being that was surviving and tasked with restarting humanity at the end of Atlantis, when the great floods cleansed humanity, cleansed Mother Gaia again, giving us a new start. Because at the end of Atlantis, we had decided that we want to be gods. We want to create nuclear power and create energy and be God. And so we had to start over again. And now we are progressing into another evolutionary stage where humanity at some point will come to a crossroads where we'll have to make decisions around the misuse of power, the misuse of technology, the misuse of fire. You can see there's a lot of scientists from China to America experimenting with nuclear energy, different types of technology where machines are gonna become and inhabit human consciousness. Those are decisions that we're gonna have to make. And that is why the idea of really focusing and honing back into the time of Ngodwana Land, because our destiny as humanity, the destiny of this planet, is for all these 7 different continents to reunite, to be one again, to be at peace, to be harmonious. And that is the destiny that we're working towards, the destiny that should be. But it's all dependent on every choice that every human being makes. All 7 billion of us contribute to the journey and the story and the direction and trajectory that humanity takes. And it's very important to see and remember this, because at times we go through parts and times in our lives where we feel like we don't matter, that what we do with our lives doesn't matter. And every day should be a legacy of love. The success standard should be, have you lived and left a legacy of love? What is your legacy of love every moment to yourself? Because what you do to yourself, you do to others. Importantly, you do to the planet and all the kingdoms of the planet. Ngodwana Land is a time we should remember. It's the time we aspire towards, where all humans feel unity and peace, especially at this time where there's xenophobia, wars, all kinds of violence that humans are impacting each other. Never mind the kind of violence we direct at ourselves, the self-hate, the negative self-talk, the continued disconnection from God, and understanding that each of us has a huge divine purpose. We are all here as humans for a big reason, and we need to remember that and dig deep. And there's no time to waste. It's an exciting adventure where we all must experience as much love as we can, give as much love as we can, feel as much love as we can. There's much to share, but I'm going to end there for today and wish you all a happy Ngodwanaland day. In future, we'll shared things such as what are the 7 principles that the people of Ngodwanaland Land lived by in creating a unified, peaceful, harmonious world where everyone lived purposefully, everyone lived their best lives, everyone lived and had the equal opportunity to live out their purpose. I will see you again soon. I think the next episode will be on the history of the amazing and powerful kingdom of the Zulu. Join us again.